we'll swing around back to that because I have some questions about that because I loved living down there. So I was just like out of my mind. I felt like such a little girl on a roster full of women. Like I didn't know my foot from my elbow basically, and I felt like I was drowning in a shark tank and I'm bleeding. That's basically how it felt, you know. And then I happened to look down and I was like, oh, I know who that is. And the booker who booked me at my table said, who is that? And I'm like, you don't know? And I was like, that's Princess Victoria. And I started like going on and on and on about like accolades and things that you had done. And he's just sitting there like, how do you know this? And I'm like, well, after I got into wrestling, I had a lot of catching up to do. I missed the territory days. I missed all of that. And so when I started wrestling is actually when I figured out and found out about you, Sharon Martel, Velvet McIntyre, Wendy Richter, Leilani Kai, the Jumping Bomb Angels, and I just fell in love all over again. And so in my head, I'm thinking to myself, do I go over and talk to her? Do I introduce myself? I don't know. You know what? Screw it. This might be your only opportunity. Go for it. Why not? And I remember I was wearing just this awful dress. Somebody had messed up my hair. It was supposed to be bright red. It looks black. And I just go over to you very awkwardly. And I'm like, hi, my name is Taeler Hendrix. I love your work and all this other stuff. And we start having a conversation. And you took, like, a lot of people don't realize like how much this actually means to somebody. You know, I was a nobody to you. You didn't know me from Adam, you know, and you just took all the time in the world to stop and talk to me about where I came from, where I was training. And then you were actually so cool that you told me to sit down with you at your table after we took a photo together. And you had me pull up some of my work that I had on from YouTube and from OVW. And you sat and watched several matches of mine and gave me these amazing critiques. And there's not a lot of veterans out there that will actually do that. Like, you postponed making some money to sit down and talk to me about what was going on in my career, what I loved about wrestling. You were so cool, and you were sarcastic, you were funny, but you were also spot on. Like, your critiques like made a very big difference, and they were smart and they made sense, and you weren't just there to like basically like shit on me or anything. And that was like such a cool experience because, you know, my experience in wrestling has been that most people, they'll just take an opportunity to eat you alive. And you didn't do that. And I think that that's really cool. And it really speaks to the woman that you are, but also the performer that you are and how you were trained and brought in the business. And I wanted people to like know that like you actually took time away from making money to sit down there and watch several matches of mine. I thought that was amazing. Nobody else had done that until that point in my career.
Well, what a lot of people don't realize or don't take into context is everybody's complaining about what wrestling has become.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't sit down with somebody like you and critique and try to help you, you know, further your career, help you, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, shoot. I hate it when I do that. You know, help you make your matches better.
Mm-hmm.
And if all I do is, as you said, is shit on you, I've done nothing to help our business go back to what it was. Because if everybody's just, you know, down, and they're not saying, no, wait a minute, you know, you got this right, but try this little thing to add to it. If you're not helping the youngins coming up, then you got no reason to complain. And see, that's the way I think, and that's the way I was trained. You help the new people coming into the business. It's not all about me, because you're our future. And if we don't help our future, then we, like I said, we've got no right to complain of what it turns into. And seeing somebody like you who knows the history of wrestling, to me, now that's an honor. That you took your time. You talking about me taking my time. You took your time and you went back and you explored the history of women wrestling. You know the ladies I wrestled with. You rattled them off just like I do. I think you've got a better memory of their names than I do.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, Taeler, I've met a lot of ladies who are in the business who don't know Velvet from Moolah.